I'm gonna make Mr. Menno look like the fucking biggest trans apologist ever.
Vagina is a fun word to say. I wish we were allowed to say it more like everyday discourse without it being like prudish, but it's like vagina.
Oh yeah, big L in biology. I think that's because this video is probably a big L.
You're anti-trans.
Are trans women biologically male? Jessie Gender thinks not so. Trans women are not biological males. I am here to... Listen, look at this. Brigitte Empire! Fucking hell! The utter dumb... Not being mean. I'm not being mean. She has a really terrible channel. She is basically... Oh my god, thought slimes here as well. They just replaced in the eyes of God with biologically and thought we wouldn't notice. That it makes no sense because it invokes sign. Like, what does that even mean? They don't have to ever say something specific that they might have to defend. It's disgusting. Sounded like you said hello interworms. Here's Mildred. Here's Mildred. You want to see what Mildred looks like? This is Thought Slime, okay? Their name is Mildred. Edit your videos, yes, you should. This is Mildred. We're going to see what Mildred looks like, okay? Just before we do this, very quickly, very quickly. You see what this is? You see what this is? I have failed men. Mildred. This is Mildred. This is what Mildred looks like. Mildred, aka Thought Slime, who actually has had beef with Xanderhal, pretending that he has a sex cult, as if Xanderhal is capable of running a sex cult. Anyway, that's Mildred. He's a man. Let's see another man. We've got another man here. We've got two men on screen because, hey, listen, owning it. I'm a man. There we go. I'm whatever you want to call me. I don't apply labels to myself. You can call me whatever you want, but I'm fundamentally a male. Adult human male. Otherwise known as a man. There's no point in me denying that. I don't care what people call me, so whatever. If that makes me a pick-me, then call me a pick-me. You'll be the 130th fucking person to have done so since I started my channel. So, hey, who's the original thinker? Not you. Anyway, trans women are not actually male, and here's why.
So for today's video and discussion, I kind of want to structure our...
Wait, no, we need the hello interwebs, because that's important. Is her... It's turned out full. Fucking hell. Why can't these people... 267k subscribers, this was a year ago. Audio mate, limiter, bring up the volume, and then like just bring it down at the other end very slightly. Did Thought Slime transition to? Clock's ticking on H-Bomber Guy. I don't know. H-Bomber Guy is just a fucking edgy fucking cyberbully. One day I will deep dive all the Jordan Owen stuff, and hopefully some people will think about fucking H-Bomber Guy in a bit of a different way. Anyway.
Hello interwebs, I hope you're doing well. So for today's video and discussion, I kind of want to structure our conversation and format this week in a little bit of a...
I'll give her something. At least she seems relatively oh, Jesus, I use the word perky and then it's like, holy at least she's seeming a bit more upbeat. Like most of the time when I see her, she's just fucking dour as shit and it's so depressing. That's another reason. Like, I can't live my life just wallowing in my own filth all day.
Different way than I normally do. Because if you can make out my horrible chicken scratch handwriting that I have on this board here, today I want to talk about this conversation that we see constantly being brought up with this topic of, are trans women biologically male? I mean, consistently and constantly, we see trans women in news articles and in public discussion being described and talked about.
Yes, trans women are necessarily biologically male. If you were not biologically male, which by the way, overwhelming, there is two options. You're almost definitely biologically female in that case. You're not a trans woman because you're just a woman, assuming you're over the age of 18 or wherever your culture is arbitrarily decided adulthood starts. Anyway.
About as being biologically male.
To compete against two biological males in track and field.
I don't think that biological males should be competing in female sporting events.
I know that there is a very harsh stereotype on the trans community that we are science deniers and that we don't believe in biological sex. I am biologically male. Cue the title. That's just a fact. I am a trans woman.
Yeah, my handwriting fucking sucks, but I don't know, Jessie Gender in it.
And if you are a trans man, you are biologically female. That's kind of the whole point.
And for many people, this seems to be obvious, right? I mean, trans women were born with the, quote, biology of a man and transitioned to be...
Born with the biology of a man. Why not just say trans women are male at that point? Why do we have to do, well, I was born with the biology of a man, well, I'm assigned male at birth. I think you're just a male, to be honest with you. It's okay, so am I. It's okay. Don't worry about that. Just live your life. You don't want to conform to male gender? You don't have to. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't do that shit because look at me, you know?
seeing as women. I mean, this is how we commonly understand and speak about many trans people, trans women, and all trans folks, with trans masc folks sometimes being referred to as biologically female. Yet I also know some people.
She's on fast forward. Listen, this video is over an hour long. I do want to at least give it a decent shake. I'm trying not to just watch 10 minutes of something and be like, this is stupid. Like, I'm really trying to be good faith or whatever, but I do in fact have to get through these videos at some point. I do have limited time to a certain extent. For example, I have to cook dinner and shit like that, so hey.
People get confused when trans people push back on being referred to as biologically this or biologically that. I know I do. I don't like being referred to as biologically male. With things getting
whether you like being referred to it or not, which that's a big tell as to why you're doing this whole thing, by the way. It's because of your feelings. It doesn't mean that you're not that.
Extremely heated, with people yelling at each other saying, you know, it's just science, or you're ignoring your biology.
Oh yeah, big L in biology. I think that's because this video is probably a big L, but we haven't quite got to that point yet. I'm trying to be good faith, don't worry.
And that feeds into the overall culture war that we've constantly been in. Not only that,
Culture war, Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, for a long time, I just stepped back from the culture war and I'm like, well, it's not my problem. I don't give a fuck. So, hey, for me, there was no culture war, but I guess I'm in it now, so hey. You don't want to hear Jessie's cope. I'm so sorry, OMG. Well, it was nice to see you. Have a good one.
this continual heated discourse in this antagonistic way continually feeds into the stereotype of misinformed view of trans people that somehow trans women, for example, like myself, think that we're the same as cis women, i.e.
Some of you literally do. Even Brianna Wu is admitting this, where she said that she actually talks to people. And yeah, some of them literally believe that they are women and have always been women. I'm sure I've heard people like Ember, maybe Amethysta, I'm not sure. Older transsexual women in the main insist that they have always been women and that that's what they should have been at birth and that internally they're actually a woman and that they're the same as any other kind of woman because trans is just a prefix like black woman or gay woman, I don't know, which is not how it works because all those people are females.
Non-transgender women. Hint, we don't think that, but that is the common narrative.
We don't think that? Some of us do. Some of us do. And you're lying. You're just lying right now, Jessie.
Around trans people that gets pushed to frame us as somehow ignoring science in some way, ignoring
because some of you are.
Our biology. That when trans women push back on being called biologically male, for example, that we somehow don't understand basic biology that we all learned in.
Well, you are male. The word biologically doesn't need to have anything to do with it. You can take out the word biologically. You can just say a trans woman male. And then say, yes. And then end the video. And then instead of reacting to 1 minute 10, which I'll probably not unfortunately get through, it's just like a few seconds. And then I'm like, yeah, great, amazing, Jessie Gender, everyone. Smart. Understands they're a male, wants to live their life as a feminized male anyway. Based. Just like me. Hey. But no, that's not the timeline, unfortunately. And the people that get huge, well-known, famous, that's what they're doing.
In middle school. And so for today's video, I want to turn.
To be fair, I say that. You've got like Blair White, Buck Angel, etc. on the other side. And a big problem there is a lot of people try and kind of copy that formula, which is what I'm trying not to do. But I'm going to be called Blair White till the end of time anyway, even though Blair White is younger than me. Not British, not a liberal. Probably a transmedicalist. I'm not a transmedicalist, even though people call me one all the time. Listen, I've capitulated. Yep, it's just whatever you say you are. Okay, great. So why is it a rights thing then? I miss the days when all trans people were transsexual or transvestite and nobody was confused about the issue. Thanks for communicating. Hey, no problem. Good to see you, Elizabeth. Thanks for watching.
Turn this conversation off.
Kitty cat, yo. Transphobes for the win. Transphobes. We're going to save the world. That's a joke.
A boil and kind of cool it down and actually have a discussion about why we're seeming to be talking at cross purposes here. Because I think when we have this conversation and when it does get heated, we're actually talking about two completely different things and understandings about how we conceptualize not only biology, sex, and gender, but how we conceptualize all those things both scientifically and socially.
Zoe Zephyr claims to be like literally a woman. Because Zoe Zephyr is like a fucking thought leader. They get called like a power couple and stuff. Although I don't think their marriage was valid. Because I think Erin Reed is incapable of saying anything truthful, so whatever vows she gave were definitely a lie. She said that she's the same as well. I don't know how to word these things. I'm not good at using Google. And the other thing is, Google shows certain kinds of results. From the woman she just... Oh, okay, I'm not going on air in the morning. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Why does this voice make me want to flip a table? I don't know. People say that about me too, but hey.
How those two things often come
The voice can't lie. There we go.
into conflict with each other. But what if I told you that trans people argue, and many people even understand, that sex, that biology...
Trans people argue? What, all of us? Are we a monolith? Do we all argue the same as you? Do we think in lockstep? I don't think in lockstep with you because I think what you say is crazy.
is also socially constructed as well. Now, I know
Sex is not... Oh my god. Okay. There's no point in showing it, but someone has been running around on my ContraPoints video. They have made a good 20, 30 comments, I don't know how many, insisting that because our understanding of sex and the words we use to describe it are socially constructed, that means that sex is socially constructed. Sex is not socially constructed. When we talk about sex, we are referring to human biology. We are talking about the concept of reproduction that has existed for a long time further than our own understanding of reproduction, because the way we reproduce comes from evolution. It comes from millennia, fucking God knows how much time of one organism turning into another that slowly starts branching off and becoming the different kinds of mammals like dogs and deer and cats and shit like that. And some of them became us. We evolved the trait of binary sex. It is not fucking socially constructed. And if you think so, you are wrong. And instead of debate broing me in my comment sections, I link my Discord. Anyone is welcome to argue this point with me. I think it's wrong, and I think it's bullshit. And I think it enables these kind of fantasist arguments for people to try and cope with their lives by, well, I'm the wrong gender and sex is socially, whatever. Like, I don't think this person is happy. And I don't think this is ever going to make her happy. I'm sorry about it. If you were happy, you wouldn't be doing this for one thing.
Already here, a bunch of you in the...
I grab my vagina daily. Trust me, she is not socially constructed. Exactly. I assume she's blocked me. Probably same. Actually, I don't know. I don't know for sure. I don't think she has a Twitter anymore. I could be wrong. She had a slap fight with Brianna Wu about something. I love when shit like that happens. It's like Idiot Wars. I love it. I could watch that all day.
comments balking at that very idea.
Transmed just means you need GD to be trans. That's such a broad spectrum of ideas then, that why the fuck do we still call it transmed? It just seems to be a label people attach to things so that they can make a hell of a lot of assumptions about that person based on it. I think we should do away with the word transmed. I think it's stupid. But hey, if people associate with it, that's fine. If you are a transmed because you think that gender dysphoria is needed to be trans, that's a perfectly reasonable take in my opinion. I think I've just capitulated to the idea that it's just anyone that calls himself anything, and that's just kind of how it is. That's the material reality or whatever. It isn't about being socially constructed being bad. It's an argument that it's malleable and that people could just make it up themselves. Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, saying that I'm, again, a trans person who doesn't understand basic science. How could biology, something that's just part of us, be socially constructed? But the point that I want to make...
It can't. It's not. Gender is socially constructed. Gender is like the meeting between sex and where it meets society. What other people perceive, what you put yourself out as, and yes, what other people perceive matters. Oh, thank you, Hillary. I truly just don't care what anyone calls me anymore. I don't label myself. Labels for other people to attach to me. Yeah, it is what it is.
Make with this video is that basic science idea, that sort of baseline understanding that we think we have of biology, is sometimes so basic in the cultural consciousness and cultural understanding of it that when we start to extrapolate it out not only into larger scientific...
Well, once we start getting to the cultural understanding of it, then yeah, that's socially constructed. But the thing we're talking about, sex, is not socially constructed. It's a fact of biology, as evidenced by millennia of evolution to get to this point. I see people like you and Sky and Cassie similar to myself. Oh, that's cool. You seem smart, so I'm happy to be compared. And I really like Sky, and I like Cassie as well.
concepts, but into how we interact in social situations as well, that it fails us miserably.
But that's like gender. She's already conflating sex and gender. This is worthless. How have we caught? Excuse me. She's already completely fucked it. Because once she starts talking about the sexual stuff, that's gender. Sex is its own thing. Gender is derived from sex, but includes those social aspects. Like, this is not difficult. Except if you're a liar and you have some kind of, impetus to lie about this. Because, for example, loads of people will watch your shit and fucking pat you on the back. Because I reckon there's a big ego component here. I think this person has a need to be listened to and, validated that comes from external. God, fucking Nebula. She's on Nebula. Disgusting. Yikes, I don't want to know. Let's keep going.
Because actual science, actual reality, reflects the much more complex and nuanced view of humanity than we would possibly could learn in a middle school biology class. Yet we in modern culture tend to act as if that basic understanding of biology from middle school is the end-all be-all. And we use...
It's not that it's the end-all be-all, it's that the concept exists because we reproduce. That human reproduction is a fact of life. And it has a biological basis, so we call it biological sex, reproduction. There's you need two gametes to reproduce. So there's two sexes. Yes, if a person has the equipment but can't reproduce, they're still that sex. There might be a few tiny cases. We're talking in the thousands, if not less, where a person genuinely can't be sexed either way, based on the priority. We've got gonads, we've got other features, genetic sex, things like that. It depends on the person because it's complicated when someone has a DSD. DSDs, people with those, necessarily are almost always still male or female. And by the time we get to the actual proportion of what might be intersex and might be genuinely sex ambiguous, we're talking about a tiny number of cases that pretty much mostly exist because there are so many of us. If there was 8 billion rabbits in the world, yeah, you'd get a hell of a lot of ones with DSDs because that's just how it is. You're playing the odds at that point. But this is just nonsense. As soon as she starts talking about the sexual stuff and that's where sex falls apart, it doesn't fall apart because you're talking about gender at that point.
Use that to discuss, interact with, control, and even legislate others' bodies based.
Control and legislate others' bodies. I love the politics of paranoia. The politics of, I have to be part of this victim group, even though I'm a white American in my home country.
On this misinformed view of biology.
I grew up believing men can wear whatever and be super hyperfem and still be men. So I naturally cannot understand the way some of these gender people think. I mean, I've been there. With trans women, I often think that part of the process is failing as a man, failing to really make it in society and wanting a new start, maybe. I think that was definitely a factor for me. And I was coming across these feelings at a time when trans was beginning to be more well-known, where celebrities were coming up. I watched a thing with Laura Jane Grace, for example, and it's just become more and more and more. So, I guess I slipped down the same rabbit hole. But as I said, I'm lucky because I didn't want kids. I hate to think what I'd be passing on if I did because I have a lot of problems. And I don't know that I'd be a fit parent for lots of reasons. But that's fine. I've got a nephew. I've got family on both sides who are very supportive and very kind to me. And I'm fine with who I am. And I'm glad that I like being feminized. So I'm glad that I went through the fucking transition. My life just doesn't revolve around people calling me a she. My life revolves around trying to find happiness, trying to find the truth on all this shit, spending time with my partner, all of that shit, spending time with my family, seeing people that I love. And hopefully one day I'll get a handle on everything. I don't know if I ever will, but at least I fucking tried. I don't know.
And how people are interacting with it, but how it also interacts with intersex issues and how biology often is wielded as a justification.
Oh, we're gonna get the fucking lecture. Listen, when we get to the intersex part, I'm just gonna fucking bail. I've had that argument too many times. People can't get their head around DSDs and the fact that most of them are still male or female. That's your problem at a certain point.
To justify and enact harm and policies against marginalized communities, transgender or not.
Christ, just stop. Give it a rest. This person probably could find happiness if they tried, but they want to wallow in this shit.
get started with this video. All right, sorry, we need to pause right here for a second because if you're a regular viewer on this channel, number one,
oh my god, she got a haircut. Oh my god, a trans woman with short hair, so fucking radical. You look even more like a man.
thank you for coming back. And number two, I bet you're asking, why does
You look like a man anyway.
this Jessie look so different? I mean, still looks good.
Jesus Christ. Listen, it's not just females, okay? Sometimes males will get it in their head that anyone gives a fuck what they do with their hair. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. Should I start talking about my hair? Should I start going on about how I want to get this cut or I get it cut and spend like 30 minutes talking about the intricacies of me having some of my hair shortened? No, nobody gives a shit.
Good, but slightly different than the Jessie before you now. That's because this video that you're watching was filmed almost 2 years ago now. I was so young then, and a much different looking jawline, and I wasn't really a vest person by then, but...
Much different looking jawline. We've had the SRS and all that shit. How nice we are glorifying surgery because we're trans and suddenly that's okay again. But hey, let's talk to women and tell them that they should all get fucking they should all get surgery. They should all get plastic surgery. We don't tend to encourage that with women, I find. Most people aren't really for that kind of shit. But trans communities, we glorify the fuck out of surgery as if it's like necessary. I've never had facial feminization surgery. Like, I can see the temptation with the caveat that I've never been able to fucking afford it anyway, so it's been irrelevant. But I don't know that I'd want to now because SRS. Oh, yeah, she got SRS, but I think she got FFS as well. She said something about her jawline looking different. Which I suppose if you're going to have a haircut like that, you have to get it sorted, but I don't know.
Still was wonderful. But seriously, yes, this was me several years ago before
Narcissism.
my facial harmonization surgery, which is why I look a little bit different.
There you go. Called it. And they have to brag about it as well, like talk about it as much as they can. Because we glorify surgery. We glorify not being happy with your appearance, not accepting yourself for who you are. This person does not accept themselves for who they are. I'm sorry. They just don't.
Different, and I'm releasing this video now because while I filmed it, I, or more specifically my editor Lucian, never really had a chance to edit it until recently, and I still think that the topic...
You have an editor and they couldn't do this for 2 years? I'm just saying, bro. I routinely make videos longer than this. Admittedly, I make content about the easiest way you can because I care about efficiency. I want to play the algorithm. I want to get stuff in front of people, and the best way is to keep it coming. But like, still, fucking bed blobs.
Of this video is still incredibly pertinent and honestly even more with so many systems within the United States. So yeah, it's a really big video and I've done a ton of interviews with a lot of really cool people.
Yeah, and it's even longer because you ranted about your hair and getting facial surgery. Oh my god, we've got a Abigail Thorn bit. Nice.
Like Identities, you can check out exclusive content like the series Jetlag, which is a really fun game show that some of my friends made that I really adore watching, or you can watch The Prince, which is a very trans-focused multiverse science fiction.
Oh, is that why those women are all men? Because it's trans-focused?
Shakespeare play that was created by the one and only Abigail Thorn, who I absolutely adore, and is also part of the cast.
Of course you do. You do a similar thing to her. You just talk bollocks.
Of Identities. I cannot recommend Nebula enough, and I cannot overstate how much they are helping me lately, and it's been a little bit stressful. Like it. That all being said, since the time that this video was made, I feel that I've grown a lot as a creator and learned how to discuss some of these issues that I'm going for. I guess have explored further. Fox News,
you like your new haircut, Jessie.
very
amazing.
Biology and gender studies course. Dear heavens, I don't have that kind of time. I've got Star Trek to watch. This video is just meant to be a primer to help people start to poke at that idea, to at least start to have an understanding of how this idea of biologically male trans women is both an oversimplified understanding of the trans community and science, and how that oversimplification gets weaponized against the transgender and other communities. But
okay, we don't care about weaponization because it's just going to be stupid shit that probably completely overestimates how much transphobia there is in the world, completely skews any actual perspectives that like cis people have, etc., etc. TV show idea. SRS SOS. 2 teens race to perform bottom surgery on a child. Holy shit. Who are the captains? We got Marcy Bowers, maybe Joanna Alston Kennedy. It's like never mind the Buzzcocks. You get like team captains and then celebrities that are like holding the flaps open and like, you know. Anyway, they look nice with long hair. They look like a man either way to me. I don't know. This figure is not very feminine, in my opinion. It looks like a skinny guy. And if people want to say the same about me, they can. I don't say anything about other people, except for calling them liars, that I wouldn't care if they said about me.
There will 100% be things that I touch upon that I don't delve into far enough for some people's taste, that I completely miss, or that I even oversimplify in my own quest to add complexity to this conversation. So to paraphrase a certain fictional alien whose own made-up alien
Listen, no hate on Trekkies. It's not about them being a Trekkie, it's about them being a liar.
biology caused him to have sex only once every 7 years, this video is meant to be the beginning of wisdom, not the end.
How much time does she spend talking about what the video is meant to be, and then having this insert for fucking ages about what the video is meant to be? It's been 10 minutes already. Jesus Christ, get fucking going. Like, I try and get the video going in my videos before like the 2-minute mark, if not the 1-minute mark. I don't always do that, but I know. There's nothing cringe about Star Trek unless it's Discovery. Listen, I do not have any interest whatsoever in Star Trek, but if you like it, cool. It's not, I don't care that fucking Jessie Gender is a Trekkie. I care that she lies.
Doing research on human sex.
And so to that end, this video is going to have 3 parts. First, we'll start with all the stuff that we learned in middle school biology, just sort of like the basic building blocks of how we think about biology and sex and gender and all that fun stuff, and then we'll add complexity to that idea of biology. From there, in our second part, if you have XY chromosomes,
Alright, so basic idea. We're going to talk about chromosomes. Wow, this is going to be painful.
you're seen as a boy, and if you have XX chromosomes, you're seen as a girl.
Yep, this probably is boring. It's a Jessie Gender video, but the thing about the big channels is most of them suck and most of them are boring. But these are the people that most of all need pushing back on, because these people are doing untold harm to other people's minds.
Right? That's what we're all taught in our middle school biology class, and then we can talk about how we pass on these chromosomes, but this is the basic idea of that. And so we're told that chromosomes basically define everything else we're going to talk about after this. What someone's sex is, what biology they're going to have.
No, what someone's sex is, first and foremost, is what gonad they have. You can look at genetic sex as well, but there's differences. There's people with XXY, there's people with XY but have female traits. So you have to think more deeply than that.
Characteristics they're going to have in their bodies, and from there what their gender is, basically how they're told to interact in society as a girl or a boy. That's our basic understanding of how society is built upon the idea of sex and chromosomes. I need to point out that even at this early stage, there's already a few assumptions being made in the science department, because first things first, we say we know someone's biology when we say that they're a boy or a girl when they're born, but before science had even discovered what chromosomes were, we tended to call people a boy or girl. So today, when we say we know someone's chromosomes, that they have these certain chromosomal characteristics, that's not actually what we're saying. So what are we saying when we say someone is a boy or a girl? Well, what we're actually
Gonads.
saying is what genitals they're born with. We tend to say that people
Yeah, but then overwhelmingly, if you're born with a penis, what chromosomes are you going to have? XY. You're born with a vagina, what chromosomes do you overwhelmingly have? XX.
born with XY chromosomes
The way I try and understand it is there's like an order of preference. You've got like genitals. If that becomes confusing, you've still got genetic sex. If you really have problems, there's whatever the other one is. Phenotype, is it? But to me, there's an order of preference.
chromosomes are the ones born with
She's saying chromosomes. Like, why does no one know how to say the word chromosome?
penises. And the ones born with XX chromosomes are the ones born with vaginas. Vaginas. God, vagina is a fun word to say. I wish we were allowed to say it more like everyday discourse without it being like prudish, but it's like vagina. It's just a fun word. Just
Get on with it, mate. Fucking hell. I know you're a man. You don't have to fucking convince me.
its own, regardless of context. It's just a fun word. Anyways, and then from there,
Yeah, the SRI gene, etc. Yeah. Peru.
that's when we say someone is a
Because like biological sex, we're talking about reproduction. Like that's the whole function. That's why it exists. That's why there's two kinds. It's because we need to reproduce somehow. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
boy or a girl, right? But it all starts here. And then we assume this, and we go to here. So already we see that there's kind of an assumption made between here and here, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a little bit, but let's kind of move down again just with our basic understanding of how the system works, right? Because after we determine that someone has a penis, we tend to think that they're going to have certain biological characteristics, right? That because they're a boy, because they have a penis, and we assume have XY chromosomes, that they're going to have certain physical traits. For example, boys will seem to have a flat chest, or they'll have a deeper voice.
Do they? Aren't like, is it over 50% of adults in the US are like overweight now? I don't know if flat-chested males are the norm in fucking America anymore.
Or they'll have an Adam's apple. There's many, many more, obviously, but those are some basic ones that we could sort of quick come up with. For girls, what we'll say is they'll have breasts, a higher voice, and maybe
Well, it depends how old they are, bro. They don't always have fucking breasts.
Be softer facial features, like less sharp angles on their chins. Maybe boys will be taller, girls will be shorter, keeps going from there. But here's another thought that I want to poke at right here, because these characteristics aren't always one for one, right? Some people born with a penis and seen as boys maybe will have a higher pitched voice, or they'll be
Yeah, I know this is boring, I'm so sorry.
really, really short. So this isn't a 100% rule, but we just understand that there's a general amount of things that people on this side will fit into. But it's important to note that not everyone will have every single thing that we associate in this category of being under boy or being under girl. But again, just a common understanding here. From there, we would add
Yes, and also, for example, a male with breasts isn't like slightly girl. They're probably overweight, or they have gynecomastia, which I think is a problem that they're kind of... Imagine going through all the trouble of transition just to style your humor off of Amy Schumer. Yeah. Well, these people are all like woke edgy, so it's like, you can be edgy about like white people and like men and stuff, and that's fine, but yeah.
another layer of what we would kind of call gender. Now, to oversimplify the already complex idea of this idea of gender, let's just talk about gender in this context as the idea of how we interact with each other in society and how we understand our idea of our own sense of self within gender. There's a lot more to it, like marginalization, but just sort of like how we interact with each other. And so these are things that are not physical characteristics, but things that...
Why are we talking about gender? We're already off topic because we're talking about gender, not sex.
Humans have made up, for example, that...
Listen, gender is derived from sex. You can't take traits of gender to inform you about things about sex, because it doesn't work that way. It goes the other way. Trans is valid because seahorses. Yeah, seahorses, like, they hold them. Because they're the still small, I really can't grasp how you enjoy this bullshit on the daily. Because I have a vested interest in trying to help people do better. I don't know. That sounds wanky as fuck. It's not trying to help people do better. I just want to improve the fucking discourse. I just want to improve things to where we're not fucking fantasists anymore. And where our existences don't revolve around desperately trying to pretend that we're actually girls. I was actually a girl born in a male body, and my male body is my condition, because that's not gross to think like that.
Women are told that they'll like pink.
A man with a testes and no penis could not reproduce because there would be no way to deliver the sperm. Yeah, but they're still male.
That they'll like dolls. They can be more emotional.
Oh, this is so stupid. This has nothing to do with anything. You're talking about gender now.
I can spell emotional. Boys are told that they're like blue. That are linked to biology and physical characteristics. Like, for example, people in the physical characteristic pile have more testosterone if they have XY chromosomes, for example. And some people on this side will have more estrogen, which then will...
And now we're talking about sex again.
Lead to like maybe more aggressive behavior, or more ability to express or feel emotions, more access to emotions because of access to estrogen, and that is certainly has some truth in reality. I mean, I started estrogen, and when I started estrogen, I noted a greater ability to access my emotions at certain times. That is definitely true. Now,
nah, you've always been a crybaby. I don't fucking buy it. You've always been a crying little, I don't know. Never mind. It's annoying to see people lying all the time. Pursuit of truth is a valid enough reason. Yeah, of course, yeah. And like, I've even had fucking Alex Gunn asking me why I care about this shit. It's like, I don't have to justify my reasons to anyone, really. I choose to because I'm an honest person. Magdalene Burns, just be honest. Yes, exactly, And hey, Magdalene Burns is another person. I judged her just like everyone else on those like handful of tweets. You know what I mean?
now it's also important to note that some of that may have been a placebo effect. That I may have just been like, oh, I'm taking estrogen. Maybe I can feel more emotions. And so I'm just sort of thinking I can feel more emotions when nothing's really changed other than like my ability to feel like I could express those emotions. So there's a little bit of like chicken.
Yeah, if we stopped lying and we stopped deluding each other and filling kids' head with shit so they end up like people like this and they fucking hate people like me because they've been taught to. If we can end some of that shit, or at least move the needle somewhere away from that, then I'd be happy, honestly. I don't have to fucking save the world. I'm not going to, realistically. I'm a fucking just over 1.5K subscriber YouTube channel, we gotta take things slow, but I would like to at least put other perspectives out there. And if nothing else, all of this shit will be, visible to anyone who finds it one day. And they might find it helps them a lot more than this kind of bullshit does. She does not know what she's talking about. And it's interesting how we conflate, what am I saying? It's interesting how we love to appeal to authority, yet these are like the experts in a way.
The egg here, but certainly there are some correlation to the idea. But the issue is that we start to say that these things are inherent to these things. That this line...
Yeah, and that's wrong, because gender does not inform sex. It's the other way around. Sex, gender.
Going down kind of goes also back up too. That because...
No, it doesn't.
You have XY chromosomes, which again was an assumption that was made. And because you have penis, because you're boy, and because you have all these certain characteristics...
Oh, it's an assumption. It's a pretty safe assumption, seeing as how... I don't know what the percentage of people that have DSDs overall is. And that's before we get to the ones that even might make you like sex ambiguous, which is not very many. It doesn't go the other way. Sex and then gender, it goes down. It goes down. It doesn't go back up again. You can't take traits of gender and use them to inform sex, because sex is where gender is derived from. It's like the social aspect.
Characteristics here that you are going to be more stoic just inherently, that you should be more stoic. And that's the interesting bit there. Even though...
Yeah, you shouldn't have to be anything. You shouldn't have to be any gendered traits. That's why we're all about accepting gender nonconformity.
Men can be emotional. Men can like colors other than blue. Men can like dolls as well. Same thing with girls. The interesting bit there. Even though men can be emotional.
This is true. The editor of this video is a man and he cried at Ted Lasso just yesterday. Wow, you're so quirky. Oh my God, you're so quirky. As an atheist, consider them fake ass skeptics. Do you know what skeptic channels tend to be nowadays? It's people being genuinely skeptical of religion and then the opposite to skeptical about gender. It's crazy. I don't know how they've like fucking done that shit. Like gaslight people into thinking that that's what that is, you know?
Men can like colors other than blue. Men can like dolls as well. Same thing with girls. Girls are allowed to like action figures and superheroes. They can be more stoic. We've seen very stoic women. I love a ton of them, like Charlize Theron. Girls.
Yeah, it's so easy to explain all this. It's because sex informs gender. Gender does not inform sex. You got sex and then you got gender. Okay, I've made that point enough times. Hey Zesty, how you doing?
Girls don't have to like the color pink.
Oh, hi Newman Core as well.
But we link all these things to biology. Again, I think most people understand the
Which...
like minute differences and things around there, but we tend to say that this generally always has to be the case and they generally all link back up together.
No, it goes down. I mean, it might go not quite go down in this thing. Probably you'd switch boy and girl with penis and vagina, you know what I mean? But excuse me, not nice.
But the other thing that I pointed out earlier that is very important to notice here is we don't actually know that. All of the
You can at very least make an extremely informed decision. And by the way, what was it someone showed me about trans women pretending to have DSDs when they don't? Intersex pretenders, here we go. This is what this is bringing to mind. It's all this, well, you don't know someone's chromosomes. No, I don't, but I can make an educated guess that yours are XY and that mine are XY. I've never been told otherwise. I've never been told that I have any kind of DSD, and I've been through a process where they did a bunch of shit with my like gendered shit, changed my biology. You'd think they'd know if I was intersex. You know what I mean?
this, we tend to say it comes back to this, and yet we don't actually know it. The thing that we do know.
So yeah, this is what this informs. People love to be like, well, you don't know my chromosomes, I could have this. Claimed diagnoses like ovotesticular disorder, true hermaphroditism. Hermaphroditism is extremely rare in humans, and there are no like full hermaphrodites where you have both sets of working gonads. Overwhelmingly, you have a dominant one that might be working and a less dominant one, the other one. Which means that you can still sex that person as male or female, but hey, that's what we like doing. We like obfuscating. That's what this is, it's obfuscating. This isn't science at all. This person, every time they use the word science in relation to what they're doing here, they are mistaken.
And the thing that all of this is...
Oh, I'm sure I've heard that PCOS is called intersex by some people. Yeah, it's bunk. It's bullshit.
Actually determined upon is genitals, not chromosomes. So let's explore what that actually means. I think we can start to interrupt all of this. We can start to explore...
Yeah, because truthfully, where this should start is it the SRI gene in the other one? Where it's first determined. That's where it should start, not your actual chromosomes. And then in a handful of cases, it does kind of change because of the effect something has on you. But that's why it's good to just know all these conditions and understand them. Because then you can understand the mechanics behind them without applying gender theory to it. Which is basically the same thing as looking at the Earth that has predated you for however many thousands, millennia of years. And saying, hey, God must have made this. She's doing the same thing. We're applying a theory post-fact. Luxander claimed PCOS is intersex. Luxander's a retard. I'm not surprised she would claim something like that.
Blow this out into much bigger ways than our basic middle school understanding is. One of the first ways that we can interrupt this table, for example...
And this all middle school understandings. When does it? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Is with trans people. Trans people just like fuck up the works, don't we? Because we'll come in and make this straight line understanding of biology to genitals to physical characteristics to social interactions and just disrupt the hell out of it. Again, this
How are you disrupting it when you were born with something? And anything you change is artificial. That's when we start getting into the arguments of like, well, if a man has his penis cut off randomly, or like has to have it amputated because it got gravely injured, are they a woman now? No. They are still what they were born. So why is a trans woman not male? If I were female at XY chromosomes, I never would have gotten menstruation. I never would have gotten my menstruation. You don't just randomly find out you have the opposite sex chromosome. True. You might find you have odd ones, but it's not very likely. Overwhelmingly, this person probably has XY chromosomes. You can make an educated guess on that. You might be wrong occasionally. Most people are not right 100% of the time. I'm sorry to say that. Most science isn't 100% fucking settled or 100% works 100% of the time. I'm sorry to break it to you. Intersex people got sucked into LGBT without their permission for the most part. Yeah, I see some people on Twitter like that, and I feel for them, honestly. Yeah, with Iman Khalif, like, those are the kind of people that will get missexed, I reckon. Those people who have DSDs, who come from poor countries where they have less understanding of these kind of things, and where they just make a decision like that. Like, that's where it's the most likely to happen. And it's a perfectly sane and, you know, sensible understanding of that, you know?
This is an oversimplification, but for example, trans people say, oh, we know what genitals we have. We know what we were told to be at birth, and we know what physical characteristics we have. But for example, trans people say, oh, we know what genitals we have. We know what we were told to be at birth.
You know what you were told to be at birth? No, you know what you were born as. I'm sorry. Why did you have sexual reassignment surgery if you're saying that you're told that you're a boy? You had a penis. You have XY chromosomes, almost definitely. You can't just say, because you can't see someone's chromosomes, that you can never intuit and that genetic sex must be taken off the table. That's insane. That doesn't make any sense.
And we know what physical characteristics we have.
And this shit doesn't even matter because we're starting to get into like gendered traits. Gender and sex aren't the same thing. Gender is derived from sex. So you can only go one way.
And we know what we're told to be in society. Like for me, I was born with a penis, told I was a boy, I had a flat chest, deeper voice, Adam Devil, the whole nine, and I was told to like glue action figures and be more stoic. All that stuff.
Yeah, you're a boy. You were born with a penis. Almost definitely XY chromosomes. If you knew you had a DSD, you'd be harping on about it till the end of time because that would be a strength in your personal argument that you personally are not male like you are. You know what I mean? So obviously none of these people are fucking DSDs.
We aren't ignorant of any of it. In fact, we're very, very aware of this straight line idea here.
You sound it. You fucking sound it. Now you can't like it's because these people think that these traits, you can go up and down the scale. You don't. Like, first off, they're not really in the right order. And this probably isn't entirely accurate. It's a fairly basic like showing of it, which fair enough. I'm not decrying that too much. But you can't go back the other way. Someone likes blue, someone likes action figures, they must be male. That doesn't work because gender does not inform sex. It's the other way around. I will say this a million times in this video. I don't care. By the way, if you like the stream, you should like the stream. You should check out the links in my description. You can check out my music. You can buy it. You can stream it on Spotify. 15 monthly listeners, actually quite a lot for me, believe it or not. You can check out my Streamlabs. You can super chat. You can donate. You can support the stream. You can also check out my Discord. He does actually kind of look like an angry lecturing hag. Well, most of them do, let's be real, because they like lecturing.
We also have this feeling that the way we've been told to exist within all these parameters.
It's funny because they say their sex doesn't matter, but they would jump at the idea of having a DSD and use it as validation. Yep, and they will pretend they do have one. And this is where all this weird, you know, obfuscation around things like DSDs and chromosomes leads towards. This is what we're encouraging. Jessie Gender, like, has her own part to play in all of this, okay? And this is a small study. Does it mean that everyone is pretending to be this, that, and the other? No, but it certainly suggests that it at the very least happens. And it's not hard to see the through line between pretending genetic sex doesn't matter because you can't observe it without like tests and shit like that, and this and that. It made sense somewhere. There's a sentence in there somewhere. Just make it up. I don't know.
Is off. And that, in some ways, we can mix and match all of
Amy Scarr, you're a man. Now you've been misgendered. There you go.
these things in different ways. For example, this stuff right here, we can totally change up and mix and match at our very leisure.
Yes, because it's gender. Talk about sex.
Like, for example, instead of wearing pants all the time, like I was told to do as a boy, I could, let's add a trans woman up here. Then again, this is not all trans women, but this is just for me. We'll use me as an example. Now, I was probably, again, an assumption being made, born with XY chromosomes, but I was born with a penis. I was born seen as a boy. I had all of
No, you were born as a male. You were male. You are male, necessarily. If you weren't male, you wouldn't be a trans person. Why have you had sex reassignment surgery if you're not male? Please, someone explain that to me.
all of these things. I'm gonna write it all down. And I was told to be all these things too, but actually,
You were told to be all these... Who was telling you as a kid, no, you have to like this. No, you have to like that. Do parents really tell their kids stuff like that? Does society really tell kids stuff like that? What does this person even know about society? Have they worked any regular jobs? Do they spend much time? Fucking hell, that's a very womanly fucking barrel chest right there. I forgot my point. Let's keep going.
you know, what if I like the color pink? I do like the color pink. Blue is actually my favorite color, but still.
None of that matters. Oh my... I'm gonna die. I'm gonna actually die. I'm gonna actually explode into a puff of smoke. Because this person is bringing in all this gender shit and pretending that you can inform sex the other way by the fact that you take on other traits, which anyone can do consciously. So I don't know.
Still, we'll say I could like the color pink, but what I do like is I do like playing with dolls. I like wearing dresses. I like being more emotional. And what I asked to be seen is be seen as a girl. So, there we go. And so, those are things that are easily changeable. Still, we'll say I could like the color pink, but what I do like is I do like playing with dolls. I like wearing dresses.
You like playing with dolls. Aren't you like 34 in this video or something?
I like being more emotional. And what I asked...
I like being more emotional. What? I can't tell if their posture is bad or if they have some kind of barrel chest going on, because this looks, they don't have a very feminine figure. And hey, maybe I don't either. I'm not, it is what it is, but hey, I've got an excuse. And so does Jessie Gender, should they wish to start seeing reality. If you're a male and you're like feminizing yourself, there's going to be like holdovers from when you were a male. You know what I mean? I have quite wide shoulders. I have big feet, big hands. Like, look. I have a deeper voice. That's just like holdovers from the fact that I'm a male person because it's not changeable. All right, let's do a quick prediction. Let's see what we get from this. So she's going to say, because I can change all this, I can then change this. You can perhaps change the perception. He's wearing a corset. Jesus Christ, I wouldn't be surprised. Corset with a polo shirt over the top. That's a new one. I'm 34. I like feeling emotion. Does anyone like feeling emotions or they just feel emotions? I mean, presumably people like feeling happy emotions and less so sad ones. It's just an odd way of putting it, hey? AGP hunch. Yeah, so they're saying, well, I can change all of these. So I can change, what, the perception of you being that? But the perception of what you are isn't reality. Like, what was it Alec Gunter said? Perception is reality. It's not true, because if a colorblind person and I look at a car and I say that car is red and the other person says no, that car is purple, which color is it if perception is reality? Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'll have to look some of his stuff up on this. Listen, I'm always looking for new allies to blow out of the water.
To be seen is be seen as a girl. So, there we go. And I like being more emotional. And what I asked to be seen is be seen as a...
You ask to be seen as a girl. Yeah, but you're not one. You can ask to be seen as whatever the fuck you like. You can ask to be seen as an attack helicopter. Unironically, it doesn't make you that thing.
Girl. So, there we go. And so, those are things that are easily changeable. These are things that are socially constructed. I can do without anything being changed.
Yeah, your gender is socially constructed because this... I don't know. Jessie's shirt is too small. It looks a bit... Yeah, it's really not helping the shoulders. Okay. I'm actually, like, dying. So, because we can change our gender, that means we can change our sex? No. That's because sex and gender aren't the same thing. Oh, I think I get you, Amy. I've never worn a corset. I don't intend to. I like being comfortable. If that means that I look a little bit more... Isn't this like a media review video? What are you talking about? I don't understand.
change to my biology in any way, shape, or form. I could easily change this, but we also live in a society today where these things are mutable too. Obviously, I don't have a flat chest anymore. I had surgery. I also took hormones that gave me breasts as well before. I even had breast augmentation surgery. So I can
Yes, because you can change these things, but these things cannot inform these things. These things at the top are immutable. You can change your penis, but you still had one. And if you had a penis inversion, you still have one.
breasts. And my voice, for example, is also deeper than some, but I think it's higher than some people's. Maybe it's a bit affected, but I also think that people that speak deeply also have an affected accent.
Bruv. We're getting towards the delusional now. Just accept it. Just accept it. You don't have a high voice, nor do I. It's okay. It's okay. Let's be men together, me and you, Jessie Gender. Let's go for a fucking lager. Let's go for a pint of lager and watch the game, yeah? You and me, men.
Accent as well, but I still also do have an
I remember the same diagram star in another video. Yeah, she pops in to tell us that she got a haircut and that she's on Nebula, but I'm not getting this. Got like history. Doesn't matter how much you invoke history. Okay. Going.
an example, but I could also get it removed in a surgery as well, but I still have it. So there we go. And I also had to transition to a neo-vagina.
Which is made of penis, because that's how it is. If a man gets his penis cut off, or gets a neo-vagina because that's all they can salvage of it because it got injured or something, that's how it is. I'm sorry.
Because I got a surgery for it. So all of these things for trans people are mutable. And so all of this stuff is what
No, they're not.
we talk about when we discuss gender as a social construct, that these elements of how we're told to exist in a society are entirely mutable. So
That we're told to... What does this mean? I'm sorry. What does it mean being told to do this kind of thing? They're going to be a Christmas special. Probably. We're at home on Christmas. What does it mean when people say that? What has she been told that she has to be? And how is that, generalizable to everyone? Hey, make sure you like the stream, by the way.
someone's born with a penis and can still like wearing dresses. But sometimes this gets frustrating and anger-inducing and even violent or insulting or even oppressive towards trans people is when we're told that we have to be these things, that we have to follow.
Yes, because those things can't be changed. Listen, I still have the same issue that I had at the very start of this video. Jessie Gender is pretending that gender can inform sex. Gender cannot inform sex. Sex informs gender, necessarily.
All these lines, despite the fact that
You change certain things, you are still the sex you were. You have not proven any of that, just that you can change a bunch of things artificially. But you're still a male. Jessie, you and me, we're both men.
clearly in our society, we can totally fuck these things up. We can totally change them. Now,
What? I have to be this way now to prove I'm trans, otherwise it's a stupid social trend. It is a stupid social trend, let's just be real. I know, I'm so black-pilled on this shit. And it's because I listen to people like this.
there are reasons for why we're told to be that way. And
Listen, all of you are going to have to host some kind of intervention for me at some point, because I'm going to be so fucking black-pilled on this that I'm going to be like, I don't know. I'm going to make Mr. Menno look like the fucking biggest trans apologist ever. That's what's going to happen eventually. Jesus fuck. And it's because I listen to these people. I'm listening to the very people that are saying, listen to me about this, I know. And I'm listening to them. And it's stupid. So I end up rejecting it. Because I know better. Because I'm smarter than this person. And that's just how it is. I'm sorry. Jessie Gender, I am just smarter than you. That's just how it is.
we'll talk about that towards the end of this video, but just for a general discussion here, these things are entirely mutable. It's clear. And also on top of all of that, these things can be mixed and matched. I mean, you put a different type of trans woman on here and different things could happen within all of that, and they can have maybe they don't want breasts, but they still want to have female pronouns, maybe they don't want the Adam's apple, maybe they want to have a deeper voice.
Gender still isn't sex.
Maybe they want to use different pronouns. You can put NB people on here and they'll have different things
Yeah, they can change their pronouns all they want. That has no bearing on their sex, because gender does not inform sex.
as well. Again, mixing and matching all of these. But these are the things
But you can't do that. You can change whatever gendered things you want. That doesn't change your sex. You have not shown that. You're saying that it goes both ways, but it doesn't. Simply not true. You're talking about perception when you talk about you want to be seen as a girl. You just want people to perceive you a certain way. That's not sex, though. That's still gender.
things that we're told we have to be. But here's the thing too, with all of that I just discussed, while trans women point this out and make it very obvious that this is the case, you could do the same in
Make it very obvious that you think this is the case because you're delusional.
here too with someone who is following this, who is what we would call cisgender.
Yes, this happens with so many of us. We listen to trans people and then we peak. Exactly, fucking hell. If people I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know. The peak thing is something I think about a lot because I keep thinking that I peak and then just something pushes me further off the edge. There's more cliffs that I still need to fall off, apparently. And this is what I mean. You're going to have to host an intervention for me one day. I'm just calling it. I'm not going to be in trouble. I'm not going to be in danger of hurting myself or anything. It's just gonna go too far, probably. So, hey, I'm calling it now.
Who's not trans, because not every cisgender person born with a penis seen as a boy will have, as I said before, will have a deep voice, will like the color blue, will have...
Yes, because these are gendered traits that are like generalized. Generally, they have these traits, but gender is somewhat mutable. And gender is informed by sex, but doesn't always line up perfectly with it.
Action figures as their favorite thing. Maybe they like dolls as well. So these things are exploited as well. These straight lines here are not exactly as straight as we thought them to be.
Yeah, male could like playing with dolls. Didn't King Critical do a video debunking this? Yeah, I think he did. I haven't seen it. I try not to watch people like that because I don't want to steal their takes, and because I don't know. A lot of this is like thought exercise for me, trying to understand my own perspective as well. But yeah, King Critical has probably covered loads of this kind of stuff, and I do like his content. I think he's smart.
It's just that trans people make it very, very obvious that that is the case. But the thing that we still say that is true, despite all of this, is I have XY chromosomes, right? Now, I can't have a Spider-Man moment get bitten by a radioactive trans woman and turn into a, radioactive trans girl and have my biology basically changed. It's still XY, no matter what I do, no matter how much I change all these things, it's still that.
Yes, and your penis is still a penis because what they do, knowing that you went through male puberty, because you're a male, they take the penis and invert it. They throw some of it away. They keep a whole bunch of it. It's still penis. I'm sorry to tell you this, Jessie. You haven't gotten rid of your penis. It's still there. It's still part of you. This is really regressive. Yes, true. Have I watched Orlando with Tilda Swinton? I have not.
So that's what we're saying when trans women are biologically male. We are that. Always and forever, right? Because
well, no. You're that. You were born with a penis. You know? Oh, it's so embarrassing, man. This has 154k views, 11k likes. This person is lying out their ass. They get God knows how much ad revenue for the privilege. They get money from these disgusting fucking subscription services like Nebula, who also feature fucking idiots like Abigail Thorne, who's a fucking moron. Ah. I tried watching King Critical, but his videos are a bit rambly for me. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I talk very differently to him. He seems more academic than me. I'm really not an academic, and I try and speak as concisely as I can, I guess. Oh, hey, Harkin, thank you so much. Thanks for watching.
Because you see, while this basic understanding of biology and chromosomes is helpful, and it's a nice baseline for people, it's actually missing a lot of stuff and kind of makes a lot more presumptions than just the genital bit. Or it also causes us to skip certain steps because we follow this straight down the line sort of idea.
That is stupid? Yes, I agree.
Because it's actually a lot more complicated than it would appear. As I said with chromosomes, we tend to think of XX and XY, but actually, as many of us sometimes know, there are people that we would call intersex. And there are many
kill me. All right, that's the video. Don't have time to listen to someone bloviate about how someone has XY, therefore they can't be a male. It's not how it works. Abigail Thorne. I've covered a couple of philosophy tube videos. I tend to hate them because she says almost nothing of worth whatsoever. And then I get all their fucking fans being like, oh, you just didn't get it, man. Nah, mate, it's so deep, man. You just got to listen to it. It's like, whoa, deep. And it's like, no, it's not. What Abigail Thorne does and says is not deep. She explains basic concepts that I probably knew fucking forever ago. Listen, we might come back to this and cover the fucking DSD part of it. But I've just had this conversation too many times. I cannot keep fucking talking about that right now. There we go, Jessie Gender, liar, fool, full of crap. Terrible video. Doesn't know anything about this. Goodbye.